Minutes that I know people are starting to join for the next session. See some familiar faces for the last session I attended. Andrew, do you want to make me a co-host so I can share?
Yes, I do. Let's see. Thanks for reminding me.
No problem.
I'm meeting people, and I'm,
And if everybody, while you're popping in, and I know it's a little bit of a pain, but every time you join a new session, you have to rename yourself, or else we don't know what district you're from. So again, it's the 3 little dots next to your name. If you hover your cursor over your picture, then you can click those dots and click the rename, and we'll know what district you're from. All right, so welcome. My name is Margaretta, and I'm from District 5170, which is in the Bay Area. And this session is titled Managing Risk with RYLA and How We Manage Risk with Our RYLA Program. All right, so that is the biggie. So hopefully you're all in the right one you want to be in. That was what we shared today. So go ahead. A little feedback there. All right. So Andrew, did you get my poll for this session?
I did not. I apologize. I didn't get any information on that.
All right, you can beat Martin up. I sent Martin a poll. So we'll do this because we did, and you have a breakout ready for me, correct?
I can set up breakouts in less than 30 seconds, yes.
All right, so we were going to do a breakout, but my instruction at my request of Martin was to have a poll and for then us to do a little bit more of a coordinated breakout so that we could kind of mix our groups up. So again, welcome for everybody who's just joining in. I'm Margaretta. Facilitating this session is how do we manage risk in our RYLA programs? So what I'm going to do then is our poll's going to have to be in the chat window. And so what I'd like everybody in the chat window, then Andrew, if you can look at it, and when you split the people up, try and do a little bit of a mixture. So we'll have 1 or 2 the answers. So one of the what the question is, do you feel with youth programs, RYLA specific, that you feel that you are like way new to this and you came to the session to learn? Or do you feel that you have been pretty much of an expert and you would like to share ideas? Now, I know you're going to do both, but give me a little bit of an idea to help Andrew and I as we create this breakout. So we want to make sure that everybody who's wanting to learn is not in a breakout by themselves, or else they're not going to, we're not going to have it balanced quite correctly. And while Andrew's looking at that and trying to put our breakouts together, what I'd like is everybody, I'll start with, is to come up with why, when you think of why you're involved in youth programs with Rotary, in like 3-4 words or less, tell me why you're doing it. And I'll lead as an example. All right. So I'm involved with youth programs because I love making a difference in the lives of our youth. So it's making a difference. Right, so I am going to go with how you're showing up in pictures on my screen. So John, you are next. Tell me why you're involved in youth programs with Rotary. And don't forget to come off mute.
Yes, I probably would have been gone from Rotary 20 years ago, but I got involved in youth programs, and I'm so excited that I spend 40 or 50 hours a week doing Rotary stuff at age 75, and it's almost all involving youth. I have had such great personal satisfaction from seeing these great young people who are better leaders than the vast majority of adults I know and are so focused on making the world better.
Thanks, John. All right, David, you're next.
I have been involved in youth for over 50 years, I guess. benefiting from the youth programs I had as a child, and I just want to give back that experience and knowing that I have made an impact on and seeing how I've made an impact on youth.
Right, great. I
through
appreciate
both,
us getting through
Rotary
these.
and Scouting.
All right, I'm gonna give us along and try to get us like to only a couple of seconds to answer so we get into our breakout room. Let Andrew do it. Darren, you're next.
I like to say that I go to work to pay my bills, but I do RYLA to fill my cup. You know, I really do love getting to go, and every time I get a positive testimonial from a parent or a past RYLA graduate, I just think that it's the best thing ever.
Thank you. Bruce?
Hi there.
Hi, everyone. I became involved in 1984 in District 5520's program. Been involved ever since, and it's just watching the transformation of the kids during our week-long program that has kept me very interested.
Nice. Alan?
I just want to pay back what I've gotten when I was a kid. And so youth services is pretty important to me. We've established some scholarship programs, for example, for high school students who come from with first in their families to go to college.
Awesome.
So that's the reason why I support youth programs so much.
All right, Art?
Yeah, sorry. I've been around these, been involved with the youth programs for ages, and like all of you, I think RYLA in particular is a very effective way to transform the lives of a fair number of kids in one fell swoop. So I enjoy it.
Great. So for the people who have popped in, we're doing what I asked for is like literally like 4 words of why, you know, you're involved in youth programs with the district. And while before you talk, make sure in the chat window you're listing if you're here because you're new to this and you want to learn, or if you're seasoned and want to share. Mark, you're next to give me 4 words of why you're on our youth program.
Future leaders and watching them grow.
Awesome. Good job. Alice?
I'm paying back. My son went to RYLA 30 years ago. It's fun, and I'm eliciting things.
Nice. Bruce Johnson?
Hi there. Yes, investing in the youth who will someday replace us.
All right. Good job. Mary Helen?
Hi, I'm youth service co-chair for District 5330, and I am involved with the students because it helps me stay young. I learn from them, and they are so patient with me, so patient.
Awesome. Tony? 4 words on why you're in youth programs with Rotary.
Who's that, me?
That's you.
Oh, sorry. The boys never cease to amaze me. That's more than...
All right, perfect. All right, Diane.
Actually, I'm a district governor this year for District 5500 in Southern Arizona. And I'm trying to figure out what we can do to create some type of RYLA in a virtual setting.
Okay. And Bruce, follow us up and then Bruce Kleckner. Let me see if I did that right.
Sure. 45 years of ditto.
45 years of ditto. All right, great. With everybody. All right, with that, so our session, what we're supposed to look at today is our question is, how do we manage risk? And risk can be a big topic, right? From protection to, you know, from like a youth protection thing to also making sure, you know, overall that, you know, we keep our RYLA programs liability free, but it's all about the safety of our youth. So let's focus on that. And Andrew's going to throw us in 2 breakout sessions. So what I'm going to ask is, when we do this, Andrew will be in one and I'll be in one. So So I'm going to look at for whoever feels that the session that I'm not in feels the most confident to help lead the discussion, lead that and help Andrew so we can get some notes taken, because if the notes aren't in chat, we don't get to capture what we had. So Andrew, work your magic on us.
Okay, here we go.
And we'll be back by 11, no later.
Tony, I'm not sure why you didn't get assigned to a room. Let's see here.
I'm here.
Okay, there, you should have gotten an invitation.
There you go.
Yep. Bruce, are you there?
Andrew, we had a question that came up that we want to bring up with the group. We had a question that came up that we wanted to bring up with the group.
Okay.
And Bruce Johnson's going to bring it up.
Okay.
Because we weren't able to finish the discussion on this, and I really want to know how other districts are dealing with it, if they're dealing with it, or if they even thought about it, because I haven't even thought about this. So this is a very good discussion. Right, Bruce Johnson? It's a very good point.
Were you in group 2?
I don't know what.
Yeah, because he wasn't in our group.
Group 2.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of that. I think bringing that up to Margaretta would be a good place to start.
What group are we in now? I just
We're in the main group.
We're in the main group. So we're back in the full session, Bruce. We broke out into 2 so we could have a little bit more focused discussion. So we'll go ahead and do that. We're going to have about 4 minutes each because we're at the end at 11:10. So each group has 4 minutes. So Mark, if you want to start with your question.
The question is, Bruce, can you say the question?
Sure, I can.
Thank you.
The question is, how are we going to deal with sexual identification of our campers? Up until now, we've always used biological, but are we going to go ahead and have to create individual cabins, because it's not only how it affects the camper who sexual identifies as the opposite sex, but how many families are going to want their children to go to a camp where a male is in the female cabin because he identifies as a female, and vice versa. And we're from Northern California, the San Francisco Bay Area. We've had gay kids at our camps. It's never been an issue, but the Supreme Court has made some decisions having to do with sexual orientation that are going to cause all of us to have to address this. And I don't know if RYLA can survive as we have had it in the past, even if Corona went away, in other words. So, because I think we're opening up for lawsuits on both sides, and we're here for the kids. You know, our motives are very, very pure, I believe. And I believe in being inclusive, but I also believe that not at the expense of stepping on other people. So.
And what I probably do for that one, Bruce, is, I mean, I know that we've updated our, and you're in 5170 with me, is correct? Yeah.
Right. That's the reason I'm glad you're here.
Is that we did, I mean, like we had to update our guidelines for the kids, that instead of saying, you know, it didn't make a difference, nobody in your bed with you, whether the same sex or not, right? Because of the fact that to deal with that, we updated it for that. But I'd rather probably get legal help on whether or not we should actually look at saying, can somebody who's a transgender, how are we going to handle it when you've got somebody who sees themselves as a, you know, male or a female, and you know, they're being in the cabin. So I'd rather say at this point, I think we'd be guessing, and I'd rather have legal help. Tony?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I agree.
But Bruce Johnson, thank you so much for bringing that up. I had never thought about that at all. It's
Tony,
never
your
came
hands up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say the third session that they have a whole section designated for this inclusion and diversity. If you want to attend that, that might be where to
That's where I'm going next. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if in that one they would get down to that level versus inclusiveness and making sure that you have a class, you know, you've got it for all classes. All right, so I know we've got, what I'm going to do is group 2. I asked 2 participants from the first breakout room that were with me. You guys got maybe 2 minutes each. So David and Darren, 2 minutes to give a recap, and then I'm going to ask, that'll leave hopefully 2 minutes for the rest of group 2 to bring up another conversation. So Darren, you want to start? You got 2 minutes, try and maintain time.
Yeah, I'll do my best. You know, I'm just going to go down. I kind of took a picture of what our notes were in the session. And I think that we talked about having diversity training, which is one of our classes. It's actually one of our most popular classes at RYLA. So it's about inclusion. It's about grace and understanding each other and tolerance. And that was one thing we talked about. We also talked about reinforcing policies at camp about rules, how we engage, where people go. We don't want a black eye on the face of Rotary or RYLA, so we're very careful about how adults interact with kids, how kids interact with adults, and how adults interact with each other. We talked about there was concern about when RYLA, the venue, included access to outside areas and the safety of the kids and or the safety of the community where RYLA was. And they talked about having patrols and really communicating about good consequences in communication. We had the idea that you made sure and qualified that you had 2 good emails for the parents and students, and the parents and students all got the same information repeatedly, so that there is a expectation management tool there. And I think I'll stop there and let David finish up.
Yeah, thank you. I guess the biggest shortcut to getting rid of or avoiding, those potential problems is the adequate amount of communicating often and early, and also double checking, making sure that you are getting the message, as Darren said, to the parents, making sure they're in that communication loop so that, that the student who's going to be participating isn't short-circuiting that communication process. And when you talk about, and an additional thing regarding parents, making sure you're getting to both parents, because not necessarily, the 2 biological parents are living together and may not be in sync themselves.
All right, great. So someone from the group, the breakout session 2, the one Mark and Tony were in, can you do a 2-minute recap on like key points from your session you want to share?
Sure, I can go ahead and do that. We talked about life scan and how often that's done, and how some districts are doing scanning their adults from the back forward and from the now forward. And life scan is with getting a DOJ number, so that's something that was very interesting. We talked about sleeping arrangements and having 2 adults, and Mary has only 1 adult in the group, the family group, and 1 adult in the sleeping arrangements, where a lot of other people were talking about having a male and a female in the family, in the smaller group, the family group, as well as in the bunks, having a bunkmate, having all boys, having all girls. And that's kind of where the discussion came up with Bruce. What if you have transgender? Where do you put them? And that's kind of where that flew. And I think it was a really good discussion. We had a lot of great ideas of what people do, and talked about, they do colored t-shirts, sweatshirts for the campers, so they can identify their campers if there's other areas around their camp, so they can know that if there's a camper or someone from the outside coming in. Mary only has only one there's only one in camp at their camp, Crestline. It was really easy. They do security around at night and during the day. And that's, did I cover everything, Mary? I think I covered everything. Tony, Mary?
I think you're good.
Okay. I'm trying to keep it down to 2 minutes because I have a tendency as past district governor to talk too long.
No problem. We did a great job. It's like, I know the last one we were buttoned up on, almost I had to tell the facilitator, you're done, it's time to leave. All right, so any big words of wisdom in our last 45 seconds?
I think you should, I think this was a great session. Thank you, Marguerite and Andrew, for this session. But I think the biggest thing is communication. I hear a lot of different things from the beginning, joining the individual session. And I think if we communicate with the parents and the kids' expectations, that's the best thing. That is the best thing that came away. I don't know who just said that. But that really is a key point. If we communicate, so when the parent gets a phone call and say, "Hey, Johnny did this," it's not a surprise. We need you to come get them. Then there's expectation that that's something that we don't do and we need to do in our district.
Yeah, one of the things we put together for our district for youth, is I was a chair for 3 years, is it's kind of like a best practice is what I call it, as a best practice. And it's literally one sheet of paper, but it tells you for every program, some of the things you should do, including always taking away keeping the 4-way test. And then it talks about what we expect from behaviors, and that every student should go into it like almost like signing a contract of what they're aware of. And then we also did some other really key things about chaperone district, and, you know, if it's an overnight, what you have to be required from your parents, and all kinds of things that we had everybody. So that is, you know, one of the things that was really important. I am going to share, and I'll find out from the text and in Martin where we do it, but our district created a district-wide permission liability slip that we get from the parents. So every one of our youth programs uses the same one. So we have that consistency, and it was vetted by a couple of lawyers as well. So they helped us do it. So I am going to go ahead and share that with everybody around. All right. So I really appreciate you guys had great participation today, and enjoy your last session.